Hi everybody, welcome back to The Messy Cook by Dale. Thanks again for all your support and all your recipe ideas. I love it. Thank you so much. Today we're going to be doing dessert, and we're going to be doing a classic dessert, bread pudding. And bread pudding was invented, I guess, in the old days to use up stale bread. And today we're going to take it up a notch and use stale croissants. Now this is your common variety grocery store croissants. You almost buy them and they're already pretty much stale. But you know, Dan and I have been to France and we've had some of the most beautiful and tasty croissants ever. Come back to Montreal and we were able to find a couple of patisseries here in Montreal that serve really beautiful croissants. But these are the grocery store variety. So we're going to use those today. So it starts with a pan, about a 13 by 9-inch pan, something like this. What you want to do is you want to butter the inside of the pan so it's nicely greased, and then we're going to start assembling. Very simple dessert, but delicious. So we're going to be we cut our croissants in half, and the first part is putting all the croissants in the bottom of the casserole dish with the cut side up, like this. Try to cover as much of the bottom as you can, because you don't really want to have any of that exposed. And if it means you have to overlap slightly, then you will do that. I'm just going to cut this one in half, sort of push that in there, and let me take another one. Now you see, I'm using a lot more croissants. The recipe calls for 6, but I'm probably going to use 8 to cover this. Okay, so there you have the first layer. What goes on next are the raisins. Now you know from previous videos that I'm not a big fan of raisins, but in this recipe I tolerate them. It actually turns out really good because I have soak these raisins in brandy for a good half an hour, 45 minutes. So they soak up all the brandy, and so it makes them very tasty. So I'm just going to sprinkle these right on top of the croissants. Now, you don't want to put the raisins on top because the raisins will burn because there's sugar in them, and they're going to be kind of nasty. And make sure that the brandy gets in there as well. So there we have it. First layer. Now we're going to top it off with more croissants, but this time we're going to have the top up. Let me cut these in half. Remember to use a serrated knife for this. Like this. That. There you go. Whoops, these have to be up, sorry. Like that. And I just had enough. So we're talking 8 croissants. Like that. Okay, good. Let me just throw this one in there and this one. Okay, there you have the basic. Now we're going to do the topping. So it's a common custard, a regular custard. It starts with 4 eggs. Room temperature eggs. Although it doesn't really matter, but I like room temperature eggs. That one is no good. Some of these were in the back of the fridge, so they got a little bit colder than they should be. Okay, there we have it. 4 eggs and the milk. Hold on a second, I forgot to put the milk out. Okay, so I'm back with the milk, or the wet ingredients. So we have a cup of 2% milk to that, a cup of 35% cream, this is rich, and a cup, let me just make sure of that, yes, and a cup of half and half.
And those are from Canadian dairy farmers?
Oh yes, Canadian dairy farmers, the whole lot of them, absolutely. As is the eggs. Croissant is made here in Montreal. So, all right. So we have a cup of 35% cream, a cup of half and half, and a cup of whole milk, or at least 2% milk. Now we're going to add some pure vanilla extract. Thank you, Max and Matthew, for this, from Mexico. And we put in 1 tablespoon of that. This is 1 tablespoon. Don't buy the imitation. Spend a little more and get the real stuff. It makes a big difference, I'm telling you. And good Quebec maple syrup. And we have how much of the maple syrup? A 1/4 cup. 1/4 cup of maple syrup. There we go. All right, so let's give this a mix. Made a bit of a mess, but you know, make sure this is well incorporated. All right, got everything? Yes. Okay, so this is the custard. This goes on top. Let's see if I can do this without making a mess. Oh, not really. Oh my gosh. So you're going to fill this to, it gets to about, 3/4 of the way up. Sort of like that. Okay. I'm going to press it down a little bit. Like that. Okay. Now, next, while that's soaking, and that has to soak like that for about 5 minutes, while that's doing that, we are going to make the butter pecan topping for it. Of course, it's a dessert, and I love pecans, so we're going to do pecans. Okay, so we got a 1/3 of a cup of butter, pastry cutter, brown sugar, and we have 1 cup of brown sugar. Let me get in there and get that. This thing is so handy, I'm telling you. My brown sugar is forever nice and workable. It's such a great thing to have. So 1 cup of brown sugar, that's a half. I'm running low on brown sugar. See, like I've had this brown sugar for a while and it's still workable. Okay, a mess. Oh, Jesus. Okay, and sticky now. Okay, so we got that, and we're going to now cut the butter into the brown sugar. Now you can use your hands for this. You can use the pastry cutter like this, 2 knives, whatever. But you know what? I think I'm going to use my hands. Get in there. And you just cut up the butter into the brown sugar, and until you have little peas. This makes it caramelly on top. I mean, you can't get better than that, man. This is a really heartwarming dessert. It just fills all the needs, you know. Sugar, a lot of sweetness, the custard, the nuts, the raisins, if you're so inclined. Okay, we're almost there. So, now what? Okay. So we got that. That's pretty much incorporated. Pretty much. Now the pecans. And my hands are filthy dirty. Oh, gosh. So we're going to put 1/2 cup to 3/4 of a cup. And you know, for me, we're going to go 3/4 of a cup. There we go. Pecans. Mix that up. All right, and this goes, make sure this gets pushed down, and this goes right on top. Look at this. Try to get in between where the croissants aren't. And look at that. I mean, it looks pretty good to me. Okay, so I'm going to throw this in the oven, and I'll tell you for how long. I'm going to throw this in the oven for 35 to 40 minutes. For 45 to 50 minutes. at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And then I'm going to check on it. You check on it by putting a spoon in it, and it comes out clean, or a knife. Just make sure the custard is done. It might look done on top, but it might not be done, so you got to check that. And then I'm going to, if it's not done, then I'm going to put a piece of aluminum foil on top and let it cook for a little bit longer, because you don't want the top to get too browned or burnt. All right, so we will see you back in about an hour or so, and we're going to taste it. So a big mess all over the floor and everything, but you know, it is what it is. So see you in about an hour or so. Goes in the oven. Hi everybody, we're back, and check this out. Beautiful. So what I did was, at the 30-minute mark, I took it out of the oven. I tested it. It wasn't quite done. I put aluminum foil on top. I put it back in the oven for about 10 more minutes. And then it came out and it was perfect. So, and you have to let it rest for at least 10 minutes because it comes out piping hot. So let's give it a try. Looks delicious. Okay, and of course some ice cream on top of that. Whoops. Here we have it. Let's give it a try. Look how beautiful that is. Gorgeous. All right, a little bit of ice cream, a little bit of pudding. So good. You know what? You don't need the freaking ice cream, man. This is really tasty. Okay. So good. Okay, so bread pudding with croissant, butter pecan topping. You must try it. It's really simple, as you saw, and it's super delicious, rich, tasty, really good. Okay, so that's it for today. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. If you like what you see, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Remember to stay safe. We're still in this mess. Wear a mask, be patient, and remember to be kind. And buy Canadian. And most of all, forget the mess. Enjoy. See you later. Good.